Welcome back to the Final Expedition Log, where we document missions never meant to be found. Today's account comes from Eastern Europe, where a routine geological survey uncovered something that officially doesn't exist. This story is reconstructed from recovered recordings, corrupted GPS data, and a journalist's camera found 3 weeks after her disappearance. The military denies the site. The government won't comment. The tunnel has been sealed and labeled hazardous waste. If you believe some discoveries deserve to be remembered, consider subscribing. These expeditions cost lives. Now, let's talk about what Viktor Sokolov found 17 meters beneath a field every map says is empty. I'm Emily Rhodes, freelance investigative journalist, and this is my audio backup for the field documentation we started on March 14th, 2019. We're approximately 40 kilometers southeast of the Hungarian-Ukrainian border, in a region that's changed hands 6 times in the last century. Viktor Sokolov, former Hungarian army engineer, contacted me 2 weeks ago with photographs of ground-penetrating radar scans showing a linear void structure running beneath farmland that's been privately owned since 1991. The owner, an elderly woman named Margit, claimed her grandfather warned the family never to dig near the eastern fence line. Viktor's scans showed why: a tunnel structure approximately 2.3 meters in diameter, running northeast for at least 800 meters before the signal degraded. No construction records. No military engineering logs from any occupying force, Soviet, Nazi, Austro-Hungarian, or Ottoman. According to Anton Keller, our cartographic specialist from the University of Vienna, this tunnel doesn't appear on any strategic survey conducted in the last 140 years. We're using a farm equipment access shaft that Viktor discovered last month, reinforced with what looks like railway sleepers from the 1940s. The timber's rotting, but the shaft descends cleanly through clay and limestone. Anton's lowering ground-anchored rope, with Viktor managing the winch system we rented from a caving supply company in Debrecen. The shaft opens into a horizontal passage at 17.3 meters depth. I'm measuring with a digital rangefinder as we descend. Temperature dropped from 19 degrees Celsius at surface to 11 degrees at tunnel level. The air smells like wet stone and something metallic, almost like old blood. But Viktor says that's common with iron oxide leaching from certain clay deposits. I'm wearing a helmet cam, chest-mounted audio recorder, and carrying 2 backup battery packs. Viktor has the primary survey equipment: laser distance measurer, compass, portable GPS unit, though he's warned me GPS reliability drops significantly underground. The tunnel is extraordinary. Walls are smooth, almost machined, carved from solid limestone with precision that doesn't match any historical mining technique I've seen documented. The floor is level, sloping gradually downward at maybe 2 degrees. Anton's taking measurements every 10 meters, logging ceiling height, wall thickness estimates, and magnetic readings. There's no standing water, which surprises Viktor. He expected significant groundwater infiltration at this depth and proximity to the Tisza River tributaries. The tunnel is dry, almost unnaturally so. Our headlamps reveal tool marks on the walls, but they're inconsistent. Some sections show chisel marks that could be 19th century. Other sections have scoring that looks almost contemporary, sharp and angular. And then there are patches where the stone surface appears melted, like something superheated passed through, though Viktor can't explain what kind of equipment would create that effect underground without leaving scorch marks or residue. We've advanced 300 meters from the entry shaft. Anton stops at a section where the wall markings become dense. Overlapping symbols, letters in Cyrillic, Hungarian, German, and something older that none of us recognize. He's photographing everything, measuring the depth of each carving with calipers. The Cyrillic text includes dates: 1956, 1944, 1916. The German inscriptions are harder to read, partially obscured by the Cyrillic overlays, but Anton identifies them as military unit designations, possibly from the Second World War. But underneath those, barely visible, are marks that look medieval. Crosses, geometric patterns, something that might be Latin text, worn nearly smooth. Victor points out that every occupying force apparently found this tunnel and left evidence. Yet none of them documented its existence in official records. That's not just unusual. That's systematic concealment across multiple governments and military organizations spanning centuries. The tunnel continues straight, no curves, no branches. Our voices echo strangely here. There's a resonance that feels wrong, like the sound is traveling farther than the space should allow. Anton mentions this, holds up a decibel meter, and claps his hands once. The echo returns after 4 seconds. He calculates that would require a clear path of approximately 680 meters. We've only traveled 350 meters from the shaft. He claps again. Same result. 4 seconds. Victor suggests there might be an acoustic anomaly, some property of the limestone that's channeling sound in unexpected ways. But Anton's expression tells me he's not convinced. He's worked in dozens of cave systems across Europe. He knows what normal reverberation sounds like. At 412 meters, we reach what should be the end. The tunnel terminates in a solid limestone wall, perfectly flat with no tool marks, no irregularities. Victor's laser measurer confirms it. This is the end point. The wall is approximately 3 meters thick, based on ground-penetrating radar he's running from a portable unit. Beyond that, solid earth, no continuation. But Anton's reviewing his measurements, cross-referencing his compass readings and the mapping software on his tablet, and something's bothering him. He asks Victor to recheck the entry coordinates. Victor pulls out the GPS unit. Signal's weak down here, but it locked onto satellites before we descended, stored our entry point. Anton enters the data, runs the calculation again, and his face goes pale. According to the mapping vectors, accounting for our straight line travel and the tunnel's consistent northeast bearing, we should be 412 meters from the shaft entrance. But the GPS triangulation, even with the weak signal, places us at 790 meters from our entry point. I ask him to explain. Anton says either the GPS has completely failed, which is possible but unlikely given it's showing consistent readings, or we've traveled almost twice as far as our physical measurements indicate. Victor suggests the tunnel might have curved so gradually that we didn't perceive it. But Anton's compass has shown consistent bearing the entire route. Northeast, 0 deviation. There's no curve. We walked straight. 412 meters of straight tunnel, according to the measurement laser. 790 meters, according to GPS positioning. The numbers don't reconcile. Victor's pragmatic. He suggests we've hit equipment malfunction, that the underground environment is corrupting both GPS and laser systems. He wants to head back, resurvey from the shaft with calibrated baseline measurements. Anton agrees. I agree. We're turning around when I notice my helmet camera's playback screen is flickering. The camera stores 30-second rolling buffers that you can review for composition checks. I hit the playback toggle, expecting to see the wall we just measured. Instead, the screen shows tunnel continuing past where we're standing. In the playback, there's no wall. Just more tunnel, stretching into darkness beyond our headlamp range. I freeze the frame, show it to Victor and Anton. They see it too. The camera's timestamp shows this footage was recorded 4 seconds ago, when we were standing exactly where we are now, facing the solid wall that's currently 2 meters in front of us. Victor takes the camera, reviews the playback himself, then looks at the wall, then back at the screen. He has no explanation. Anton suggests a digital glitch, corruption in the camera's buffer memory. But the image is clear. Stable. No pixelation, no distortion. It shows tunnel. We're discussing whether to continue when Anton's tablet chimes. A notification he set up to alert if the mapping software detected positioning errors beyond acceptable tolerances. He checks the screen, and his hand starts shaking. The software has been logging our position every 30 seconds since we entered the tunnel. According to the log file, our position has been updating normally, showing steady northeast progression. But 15 minutes ago, the log shows a positional discontinuity. One moment, we were at 320 meters from the shaft. The next reading, 30 seconds later, placed us at 640 meters. The software flagged it as a probable GPS error, continued logging without alerting us. But reviewing the subsequent readings, our position has been updating consistently from that 640-meter mark. If the GPS is malfunctioning, it's doing so in a very specific, very consistent way. Victor's voice is tight when he says we're leaving. Now. No further surveying, no additional measurements. We turn back toward the shaft entrance and begin walking. The return route should take approximately 40 minutes at our previous pace. I'm keeping my helmet camera running, recording continuously. The tunnel looks identical in both directions. Same smooth walls, same gradual slope, same tool markings appearing at regular intervals. But something feels different. The air pressure has changed. Subtle but noticeable, like we've descended further even though we're walking uphill back toward the surface access shaft. My ears pop. Victor notices too, checks his portable barometer. We've lost atmospheric pressure equivalent to descending another 30 meters. Yet the tunnel grade has been consistently upward for the last 10 minutes of walking. We've been walking for 53 minutes. The shaft entrance should have appeared 20 minutes ago. The tunnel continues, unchanging, no variation in width or height, no landmarks we can identify. Anton's retracing our marked route. Every 50 meters during the initial survey, he placed small reflective tags on the wall at shoulder height, the kind cave explorers use for navigation. We haven't passed a single tag. Victor stops, sets up the laser measurer, shoots a beam back down the tunnel the way we came. Maximum range on the device is 800 meters. The laser returns a measurement. Tunnel continues beyond range. No shaft entrance visible. We should be standing at the shaft right now, according to every measurement we took. Anton pulls out the tablet, checks the GPS position. According to satellite triangulation, we're currently positioned 470 meters from the shaft entrance, bearing southwest. We entered walking northeast. We turned around and walked southwest, back the way we came. We should have reached the shaft. Instead, we're farther from it than when we turned back. Victor's breathing has changed. Short, controlled breaths, the kind you take when you're managing panic. He suggests we've gotten turned around somehow, that the tunnel has branches we didn't notice. But Anton and I both have continuous footage showing no branches, no intersections, just straight tunnel. Victor doesn't argue. He pulls out his satellite phone, tries to get signal. Nothing. Too much earth overhead. He starts walking again, faster now, back toward where the shaft has to be. Anton and I follow. The pressure change intensifies. My ears won't stop popping. The metallic smell is stronger now, unmistakable. We've been walking for 2 hours and 17 minutes since turning back. Victor finally stops, sets down his equipment pack, and admits what we're all thinking. We're not finding the shaft. The tunnel has maintained identical characteristics for the entire return route. Same dimensions, same wall texture, same gradual upward slope that should have brought us to the surface access point over an hour ago. Anton's GPS positioning has become erratic, jumping between readings that place us anywhere from 300 to 900 meters from our entry coordinates, with no consistent pattern. The satellite lock keeps dropping and reacquiring, which shouldn't happen in a linear underground passage with consistent depth. Victor's checking our physical supplies. We have approximately 6 hours of headlamp battery life remaining across all 3 units, 2 liters of water per person, emergency rations for 72 hours. His voice stays level, professional, but I can hear the edge underneath. He's run extractions in worse situations, he tells us. Hungarian Army Mountain Rescue, 2008 through 2014. This is just navigation difficulty. We have time. We have supplies. We will find the exit. Anton's reviewing every photograph he took during the initial survey, looking for distinctive wall markings that might help us identify our position. The overlapping inscriptions should provide landmarks, but he's finding something disturbing. The photographs show different inscriptions than what's currently on the walls around us. In his photos from the first 300 meters, there's a clear Cyrillic marking at the 200-meter point. A Soviet military designation with the date 1956. We should have passed that marker twice now, once going in and once coming back. Anton's been watching for it specifically. We haven't seen it. What we have seen, in approximately the same position, is a German inscription he doesn't remember photographing. He shows me the image file from his camera, timestamp verified, showing the Cyrillic text. Then he points his headlamp at the wall where that photograph was taken, according to his GPS coordinates. German text. Faded, partially obscured by newer carvings, but unmistakably different from his photograph taken 4 hours ago. I suggest we mark our current position, establish a baseline, and conduct a systematic search pattern. Victor agrees. He pulls out a can of surveying spray paint, marks a large orange X on the tunnel wall at shoulder height, adds the current time in permanent marker, 1647. We'll walk exactly 100 meters forward, mark that position, then return to this X and try the opposite direction. Basic search protocol. We move forward, Anton counting paces, Victor using the laser measurer for verification. At 100 meters, Victor sprays another X, marks the time. 1654. 7 minutes to cover 100 meters, which matches our previous walking pace. We turn back. The return walk should take approximately 7 minutes. We count it out. 7 minutes pass. The first orange X should be visible in our headlamp beams. The tunnel ahead shows unmarked limestone walls. No orange paint, no marker. We walk another 5 minutes, then 10. No X. Anton's GPS shows we're now 230 meters from where we started. But we've only walked 100 meters out and what should have been 100 meters back. Victor stops walking and tells us something he didn't mention before. In 2012, during a military engineering assessment near the Serbian border, his unit discovered an abandoned tunnel system that wasn't on any official survey. They explored approximately 400 meters before the commanding officer ordered immediate evacuation, and the entrance was sealed with explosives within 48 hours. Victor never received an explanation. The official report listed the site as a collapsed mine shaft, structurally unsound, not worth investigation. But Victor saw the same characteristics we're seeing here. Machined walls, inconsistent tool markings, inscriptions from multiple time periods. He saw something else too. Ground-penetrating radar readings that showed the tunnel continuing far beyond where it physically terminated. His equipment registered passage extending for over 2 kilometers. When they reached the end wall at 400 meters, the radar still showed tunnel ahead. His commanding officer saw the readings, said nothing, and ordered the evacuation. Victor thought it was equipment malfunction until today. Now he's not sure. Anton asks why Victor didn't mention this before we descended. Victor's answer is careful. Because he thought he was wrong. Because the alternative, that there are tunnel structures across Eastern Europe that don't obey normal spatial geometry, was impossible. Because he needed to see it again to believe his own memory. And now we're inside another one, and he has no idea what we're dealing with. I ask the obvious question. Did his 2012 team make it out safely? Victor nods. Everyone extracted without incident. The tunnel didn't prevent them from leaving. They walked back to their entry point and climbed out exactly as planned. But they were only inside for 45 minutes. We've been underground for over 6 hours. Anton's mapping software shows our descent time as 1 hour and 12 minutes to reach the 412-meter endpoint. Our attempted return has lasted 5 hours and 18 minutes and counting. The temporal ratio is wrong. Everything is wrong. The air pressure drops again, sudden and severe enough that all 3 of us stumble. My ears pop so forcefully that I taste blood. Victor's barometer alarm triggers. We've just experienced pressure change equivalent to descending 90 meters in under 10 seconds. But the tunnel grade hasn't changed. We're still walking on level ground, maybe even slightly uphill. Anton's checking his GPS, and the reading makes him sit down hard against the tunnel wall. According to the satellite triangulation, which has been intermittent but generally consistent in direction, if not distance. We've been moving steadily northeast for the last 40 minutes. Northeast, away from the shaft entrance. But we've been walking in a straight line the entire time, and we've been heading back the direction we came from, which is southwest. There's no curve in the tunnel. Our compass bearings confirm southwest heading. The GPS says we're traveling northeast. Both cannot be true. I review my helmet camera footage, scrubbing through the last 3 hours of recording. The video shows exactly what I remember. Straight tunnel, no branches, no curves. Consistent walking southwest based on compass readings that appear clearly in frame when Victor checks navigation. But when I overlay the GPS tracking data that's been recording to Anton's tablet, synced to my camera's timestamp, the plotted course shows us moving northeast. Not occasionally, not intermittently, continuously. For 3 solid hours, we have been walking northeast according to satellite positioning, while simultaneously walking southwest according to every other measurement system and our direct perception. Anton suggests the GPS has completely failed, that we should ignore it and navigate by compass alone. But Victor points out that GPS failures don't produce consistent directional errors. They produce garbage data, random jumps, loss of signal. This isn't random. The GPS is tracking our movement accurately, according to its own reference frame. That reference frame just doesn't match the physical tunnel we're walking through. We decide to try something. Victor has us stand completely still for 5 minutes while Anton monitors the GPS position. If we're stationary, the coordinates shouldn't change beyond normal GPS drift, maybe 3 to 5 meters of variation. We stand. 5 minutes pass. Anton checks the tablet. Our GPS position has moved 47 meters northeast. We haven't taken a single step. Victor asks if the satellites themselves could be malfunctioning. Anton says no. GPS works by triangulation from multiple satellites, and we'd need simultaneous failure of at least 4 satellites to produce these readings. And the signal strength indicators show strong locks on 6 satellites currently. The system is working perfectly. What it's measuring just doesn't correspond to our actual position, or our position is changing independent of our movement. Neither option makes sense, but Anton's voice cracks when he says he doesn't know which interpretation is worse. The wall inscriptions are changing. I notice it first because I've been filming continuously, using the helmet camera to document everything. I'm reviewing footage from 20 minutes ago, and I see text on the walls that isn't there now. Not different text in the same location. The same sections of wall showing different inscriptions in the recording versus what's currently visible. I point this out to Victor and Anton. We walk back approximately 30 meters to a section where my footage clearly shows a Hungarian inscription. A date, 1848. We reach the location. The wall shows Cyrillic text. Recent, maybe 1970s, based on the carving style. We watch the video footage together, timestamp verified, showing different text on the identical wall section. Anton touches the Cyrillic letters, runs his fingers over the carved grooves. The stone is weathered. The inscription, at least 40 or 50 years old. In my video recording from 20 minutes ago, that inscription doesn't exist. Instead, there's Hungarian text that's currently not present anywhere we can find. Victor's trying to maintain composure, but his hands shake when he pulls out the spray paint can to mark another reference point. He sprays a large orange circle on the wall, adds the time and date, then adds a message in Hungarian, German, and English. Tulelok Kerestnek Kutat, Überlebende suchen Ausweg, survivors seeking exit. If the inscriptions are shifting, maybe our own markings will remain visible to us, or to whoever else might be down here. He's reaching for reassurance that someone will find evidence of our passage. Anton suggests we photograph the marking immediately, create a time-stamped record. I film Victor making the inscription, Anton photographing it from 3 angles, both of us documenting the exact wall location with laser measurements and GPS coordinates. We have proof we were here, at this moment, making this mark. We walk forward 20 meters, then turn back. The orange circle is gone. The wall shows undisturbed limestone with the same weathered Cyrillic inscription we saw before Victor painted over it. We try again. Victor sprays another circle, larger, using half the paint can to make it unmistakably visible. We don't walk away this time. We stand 5 meters back, all 3 headlamps pointed at the orange marking, watching it continuously. Anton's filming with his phone camera. I'm recording with the helmet cam. Victor's watching through binoculars to catch any detail change. We watch for 12 minutes. The orange paint begins to fade, not like evaporation or chemical degradation, but like it's receding into the stone, being absorbed. The color dulls from bright orange to rust brown, then to a stain that looks decades old, then to nothing. The underlying Cyrillic text emerges through the fading paint as if it was always on top. The process takes approximately 8 minutes from bright paint to complete disappearance. We have it on video from 3 angles with synchronized timestamps. The tunnel is rejecting our markings, erasing our presence, maintaining its own historical inscriptions regardless of what we add. Victor's breathing has become audible, harsh and fast. He's ex-military, trained for high-stress situations. But this is breaking his operational framework. Anton's not much better. He's mumbling calculations under his breath, trying to rationalize what we're witnessing through physics or geology, or some materialist explanation that makes sense. I'm the only one who's not surprised, and that terrifies me more than anything else. because I'm a journalist who investigates things governments don't want discovered, and I've heard stories about places like this. Locations that appear in classified documents with heavy redactions, sites that get mentioned in intercepted communications and then never referenced again, coordinates that show up in military archives with orders to avoid without explanation. I thought they were conspiracy theories or Cold War paranoia. But we're inside one now. And every measurement we take confirms that this space doesn't follow normal rules. And we can't mark our passage because the tunnel erases evidence of our existence, like it's done to every other explorer who's been here before us. Victor makes the decision at hour 7, 43 minutes underground. We're stopping all attempts to navigate back to the shaft. Instead, we're moving forward, continuing northeast along the tunnel's bearing, looking for an alternate exit. His reasoning is pragmatic and terrible. We've been trying to return to our entry point for over 6 hours, and we're farther from it now than when we started. The tunnel is either preventing return or we've fundamentally misunderstood the space we're moving through. Either way, continuing to walk backward isn't working. Maybe walking forward will bring us to something. Another access point, a ventilation shaft, a collapse zone that opens to the surface. It's desperate logic, but Anton and I don't argue. We're down to 4 hours of combined headlamp battery, and sitting still while the tunnel apparently shifts around us isn't an option. We start walking northeast, the direction the GPS insists we've been traveling all along despite our compass readings, despite our perception, despite everything. The tunnel characteristics begin changing after 30 minutes of forward progress. The walls remain smooth limestone, but the tool markings become denser, layered so heavily that entire sections look like palimpsests. Text carved over text, until the stone is almost sculptural with overlapping inscriptions. Anton stops to examine a section where he can identify at least 9 different languages, 9 different time periods, from what might be Latin or Proto-Romance languages at the deepest layer, to Cyrillic text that looks contemporary, possibly from the last decade. Someone was here recently. Multiple someones, across centuries, all carving their presence into these walls. But none of them documented this tunnel in official records. None of them left maps or surveys that survived in archives. Victor suggests maybe they didn't make it out. Maybe we're reading a wall of the dead, messages from people who got lost exactly like we are now. At 8 hours, 19 minutes, we find the first body. Not remains, a body, fresh, wearing modern caving gear with a headlamp still attached to the helmet. Male, approximately 40 years old. No visible injuries. Lying on his side against the tunnel wall, as if he lay down to rest. Victor checks for pulse, finds none, estimates the body has been dead less than 12 hours based on rigor mortis and body temperature. The caving suit has patches identifying him as part of the Slovak Speleological Society. His equipment includes GPS units, survey gear, a digital camera with a full memory card. Anton photographs the body and gear while I check the camera. The last photo on the card is time-stamped 4 days ago, showing this exact tunnel, this exact section, with the same body lying in the same position. The photographer documented his own corpse 4 days before dying. I show this to Victor and Anton without speaking. There's nothing to say that makes this comprehensible. We find identification in the caver's pack. Marek Novotny, age 41, expedition leader with 17 years of cave exploration experience across Central Europe. His surveying notebook contains detailed entries describing a tunnel system discovered near Košice, Slovakia, approximately 400 kilometers from our current location in Hungary. His notes describe identical characteristics: machined walls, overlapping historical inscriptions, GPS anomalies, measurement discrepancies. His last entry, dated 3 days ago, describes walking for 11 hours trying to find his team members, who became separated when the tunnel apparently branched in ways that weren't physically present moments before. He writes that he can hear their voices calling his name, but the sound comes from behind walls that his laser measurements show are solid stone 3 meters thick. His final sentence: "The tunnel shows me the camera photos. I am already here. I have been here for days." Victor wants to leave the body, keep moving. Anton argues we should document everything, take Marek's gear and data as evidence. I'm filming this scene when my helmet camera playback screen flickers again, showing the same 30-second buffer glitch from hours ago. I check the recording. The playback shows this tunnel section, but there are 4 bodies lying against the wall. 4, not 1. The camera shows Marek's corpse in the same position we're seeing, plus 3 more people in various states of decay, arranged along the tunnel wall at intervals of approximately 10 meters. I pan the headlamp across the actual tunnel. 1 body. I check the camera playback again. 4 bodies, clear as anything, in footage time-stamped from 60 seconds ago when we were standing in this exact location. Anton looks at the playback, then at the wall, then back at the screen. He starts backing away from Marek's body, his voice climbing toward panic when he asks, what happens if we become like them? If the tunnel shows future versions of ourselves already dead ahead of our current position. We're running now, not walking, moving as fast as we can while maintaining headlamp coordination, so we don't lose each other in the darkness. The tunnel continues unchanged, perfectly straight, the same gradual downward slope we've been following for hours. Victor's barometer shows we've descended to equivalent depth of 43 meters below our entry point, even though the tunnel grade has been consistently upward according to our perception and compass readings. We're going deeper while climbing. The pressure continues dropping. My vision is starting to blur at the edges, and I realize we're experiencing hypoxia, reduced oxygen at depth, except we shouldn't be at depth. We should be near the surface by now. Victor's breathing is labored. Anton stumbles, catches himself on the wall. We need to slow down, but Victor keeps pushing forward because stopping feels like dying, like admitting we're not getting out. The inscriptions on the walls blur together as we pass, but I catch fragments in my headlamp beam. Dates ranging from 1203 to 2018, names in dozens of languages, military unit designations from conflicts spanning 8 centuries, coordinates that place these carvings in locations hundreds of kilometers apart. The tunnel isn't in one place. It's in multiple places, or it connects places that shouldn't be connected, or the concept of location doesn't apply here the way it applies to normal space. Anton's the one who says it out loud, gasping between ragged breaths. This isn't a tunnel. This is a fold, a recursion. We're walking through the same space, repeated, overlapped, time-shifted. Victor tells him to shut up, that supernatural explanations won't help us navigate out. But Anton's not talking about supernatural. He's talking about topology, space-time geometry, the kind of physics that describes black holes and wormholes and theoretical spaces where metrics break down. He's talking about a tunnel that exists in multiple locations simultaneously, accessed through entrance points separated by hundreds of kilometers and centuries of time, all opening into the same impossible passage. At 9 hours, 52 minutes, we find the end. Not a wall this time. The tunnel opens into a chamber approximately 30 meters in diameter, dome-shaped ceiling rising into darkness beyond our headlamp range. Floor covered in debris that looks like it's been accumulating for decades or centuries. Equipment from different eras scattered across the stone. Lanterns that might be 19th century, flashlights from the 1970s, modern LED headlamps, surveying gear ranging from antique brass instruments to contemporary laser systems, and bodies. Not decomposed, preserved by the cave environment or by whatever properties this space has that prevent normal decay. Dozens of them, maybe 50 or more, arranged around the perimeter of the chamber in various positions. Some look like they died recently. Others wear uniforms I'd need a military historian to identify, dating back at least to World War I, maybe earlier. All of them came looking for a way out. All of them ended here. Victor walks to the center of the chamber, sets down his equipment pack, and laughs. It's not a sound of amusement. It's the laugh of someone whose operational framework has shattered completely, who's realized that training and experience and rational planning mean nothing in this context. He says we're standing in a collection point, a terminus where all the tunnel entrances converge. Everyone who enters eventually arrives here, regardless of where they started, regardless of how long they walk or which direction they choose. The chamber is the destination, has always been the destination. Anton's reviewing his GPS data, scrolling through 9 hours of logged positions, and he sees the pattern. We've been spiraling inward in space-time coordinates, not physical space. Every position reading shows us getting closer to this specific set of coordinates, even when we thought we were walking away from them. The tunnel routes everyone here, it always has. That's why there are no official records, because no one who discovers these entrances comes back to report them. I'm recording this on my helmet camera with approximately 47 minutes of battery life remaining. Victor is documenting the chamber with his phone, photographing the bodies and equipment, building a record of everyone who's been trapped here. Anton has stopped trying to calculate escape routes. He's sitting against the chamber wall, reviewing Marek's surveying notebook, reading the last entries where the Slovak caver describes the same realization we've reached. There's no exit from the chamber. The tunnel opening we entered through is gone. The chamber wall is solid stone in every direction. Maybe the entrance will reappear. Maybe it cycles, opens periodically to release people or admit new arrivals. Marek's notes suggest that he believed the chamber was a kind of temporal buffer, a space that exists outside normal causality, collecting people from different time periods and locations. His final calculations estimated the chamber might open once every several years based on the spacing of bodies and the decay rates he could observe. We have 4 hours of water remaining, 3 days of food, less than an hour of light once the headlamps fail. Victor's satellite phone has no signal down here. No way to call for extraction, even if there was someone to call. The chamber doesn't appear on any map because it can't be mapped. It's not consistently present in any single location. I'm thinking about Margit's grandfather's warning never to dig near the eastern fence line. About Victor's commanding officer ordering immediate evacuation and sealing of the Serbian tunnel. About the systematic erasure of these sites from official documentation across multiple governments and military organizations. They know. Whoever's been in charge, whatever chain of command, inherited knowledge of these spaces. They know what happens. They know people don't come back. And they've been sealing entrances for decades, maybe centuries, trying to prevent exactly what we've done. Walking into a space that doesn't follow normal rules and discovering too late that it never intended to let us leave. My camera battery is at 31 minutes. I'm uploading this recording to the cloud storage on my phone while I still have equipment power, hoping some signal will penetrate eventually, hoping someone will find this data even if they never find us. Victor's checking the other bodies for supplies, looking for functioning equipment, batteries, anything that extends our survival window. Anton's carving our names into the chamber wall with a multi-tool, adding to the hundreds of other names already inscribed there. Messages from the dead to whoever arrives next. The tunnel wasn't on any military map because maps describe places that exist in predictable ways. This exists differently. And now we exist here, in this chamber with all the others who found entrances and followed them to the only destination they ever had. The light's failing. Recording ends here.